Hi guys from San Francisco today. I have with me a very special guest, Chris Larsen. Chris Larsen is a very successful entrepreneur. He created three extremely successful companies, two of them multi-billion-dollar companies, and at some point you were not that. I think 2 years ago you were ranked the number 5 wealthiest person in the world, Chris, right?
A microsecond.
For some time. So I wanted to ask you about these three things because you had exceptionally perfect timing in all the three times. So how do you recognize this opportunity? How do you look for that opportunity and see that this is the right opportunity to take advantage of?
You know, to be honest with you, I guess in all three of them, they just kind of felt right. There was some kind of thing inside that was like when you just sort of know it's time to move. And all of them had different periods of kind of percolating in the brain where it probably wasn't the right time. Crypto, for example, crypto happened before Bitcoin. But if you were to have started it, even in, 5 years earlier, probably wouldn't have been the right time, right? It was maybe too strange. Maybe you had to have something like Bitcoin come along to kind of set a new reality of how people are thinking about it, even if when it first started, was pretty fringe. But I think after Bitcoin came out, it felt very obvious, like, okay, time to go on that one, right? That was kind of definitely a breakout.
Okay.
That was very different from, let's say, Linden Dollars, trying to be a competitor to Linden Dollars or Vermont Dollar too early, or Floors or Bean. There's a lot of these models that came along. So I think it's a combination of being pretty aware of what's going on in the environment, but then trying to recognize when was there a breakout enough moment where it might be still really early and might be fringe for most people, but I think if you put two and two together, you could have, it was logical to see Bitcoin as being a fundamental turning point.
Okay, but from the practical side, I mean, do you talk to people because Bitcoin, or let's say your last venture was slightly different industry from the first two ventures. So were you talking to the right people? Were you at the right places, or what? How did you? How is the process of scanning the opportunity, or is it something that it just comes to you and you choose among the different opportunities, or you search for that somehow actively? And
it's an imperfect process, right? So mostly you have to get very lucky, right? So but I always say, get Silicon Valley, get hit by the lucky truck. That's true. You got to get hit by the lucky truck, but you got to be standing in the street to get hit by the lucky truck, right?
Right. Apparently, you stand on the right spot for
you got to be standing in the
times,
You
right?
can't be standing on the sidewalk. So there is a little bit of this weird thing that's hard to identify. But it is important, I think, when you feel like you got a good idea, is to try that idea on with people you know and people that you respect. And then there's a little bit of maybe a delusional process of ignoring the advice that doesn't fit what you're thinking, and grabbing onto the advice that reinforces what you think is actually gonna work. Just to be honest, it's a little bit of that, right? So it's not like you're taking a poll and it's like, okay, well, if I get 47 yeses and 20 no's, I'm gonna do it. It's really not like that. But a big struggle in starting a business is, in fact, ignoring advice, maybe mostly from those very smart people that you respect, because again, those are going to be the gatekeepers who are saying that to other people of these new ideas, probably enough for why your idea is not mainstream. The paradox is, if they were saying go, it's probably already too late, because then too many other smart people have heard about it. So it's definitely balancing kind of logic with, in your own head, the absolute faith that the thing is going to work.
Okay. Then let's say the next step, you have a company already, right? You have created, or you are in this creation phase of the company. How do you attract the best talent there? What's your ideas about there? What's your methodology? How do you do that?
Well, I think you're spending a lot of time on your own, thinking obviously about what it's going to be and what it is, the technology, how you go to market, all of the details. But most importantly is like you're coming up with the mission, you're coming up with the core values that are easy to communicate, and then you're perfecting how you express that. And that's basically it's a construct of faith. Humans are they want to have faith in something. They want to believe in something, and they want to have a goal where they're going to make a dent in the universe. It's kind of the whole lifeblood of Silicon Valley. So you got to come up with a way to express that reaches into people's hearts, and brains. And if you can do that, then if you're in the right place like Silicon Valley, where there's incredible talent, if you can do that, you can attract the most amazing, best people on earth to come join your crazy idea.
What does money play in that equation?
Money's just a tool to help get you there, right? So, but
offering money to people. I mean, what is would you say the percentage of that? I mean, how in attracting people, do you have to offer the best also financial conditions, or is it something that people at some level they just decide about how they feel?
I think most people in Silicon Valley, especially the best, most talented, kind of money really it's important. I mean, you need to be competitive, but there's plenty of startups where the big platforms, the Facebooks, the Googles, all kinds of might be $1 million in cash packages for some of these incredible technologists. Yet they're starting startups where the salaries might be a fourth of that, but are having equity. And again, having faith in a mission where that they can have a much more meaningful impact. So that's kind of the package, right? Is obviously some cash compensation, that especially in the Bay Area where people have got to live comfortable lives. There's the equity, which is really kind of the reward for having faith and getting to that place we think we can get to. But it is really that mission driven, and again, Silicon Valley has 3 different types of people, right? It's mercenaries, missionaries, and misfits. You want the missionaries, and the missionaries are attracted by that faith as much as they are by the finance. The mercenaries are only attracted by the money. You don't want that, because the minute something turns or goes wrong, and there's going to be a million things that go wrong on the journey.
And the misfits, you are the misfits, right?
Well, the misfits they can be good misfits or bad misfits. You got to make sure they're constructive misfits.
Okay.
Misfits can do a lot of damage. They can also accelerate things beyond your wildest imagination. So those are the wild cards, but you always want the missionaries.
Okay. The last question in this short interview, very general one, I hope you don't mind it. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to become as successful as you are in business? Like the most important advice?
I think get well-rounded in lots of different disciplines. I think a lot of these models and new opportunities are connecting one discipline to another discipline. That's where the magic happens. I think when I relook at everything, so kind of being well-rounded, I think is really, really important. Starting accumulating a great team early on, and always be thinking about where you're strong and where you're weak, and trying to put yourself in a position where your strengths naturally come out. But the minute your skills aren't up for the task, bring in others, including replacing yourself as the main leader, right? That's a very important thing. That's very hard to learn, but is kind of can make all the difference in the world. And then again, maintain control of your companies. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter how much people complain about founder control, maintain control of your companies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris, for your insights.
Thank you.
See you guys from San Francisco. I wish you a fantastic day today. Let's do something extraordinary today.